or narrow lane, which is also called Cathedral Lane because it goes from the front street up to the cathedral. Following me so far? Sound. Where was I? Oh, I know, we were going up there. And down the bottom of Cathedral Lane, across the pavement, so people wouldn't run out under the wheels of passing buses, they put a rail. And along that rail, the Parliament of Truro used to meet. And all the world's problems were put to rights, leaning on that rail. Just behind it was the Red Lion Hotel, which got knocked down by a lorry just after it had been sold to a supermarket, which was lucky because it was a grade 1 star listed building and they couldn't knock it down. So the lorry did, that was all right. And then they knocked down Pydar Street and they said, we're gonna regenerate Truro. We're going to build a hotel, we're going to build this, that and the other. And then Edward Heath, he was a Prime Minister, he introduced the Local Government Act, and the Local Government Act said we're going to do away with town councils, they shall have no more power. We'll give all the power to the people down the road. So the people down the road said, well, we live here and you live there, and we don't like you, so you're not getting all your development, you can have the council offices instead. So all these people who've been moved out of their houses all ended up going into what was their houses in order to pay their taxes for living in houses that they didn't have no more. You following me so far? So Truro is a town that has been robbed of itself, but even so, it's got a huge spirit, a huge heart. And I try and give that expression. So there's a man called Les Williams who went to war when he was 15. Somewhere along the way he married a woman who didn't like him, and they were installed in a council house. He fought in he was a Royal Engineer, he fought in every theatre of war during the Second World War. He was pinned down under shell fire in Italy and got shell shocked, or PTSD as we call it today, politely. And when he came home, he walked in through the door and said, hello honey, I'm home. She said, no you're not, go and live in the garage. And so he did. And to get over, create his own therapy, because nobody treated you for shell shock, to get over that, he learned how to paint. And he filled this garage with birds, beautiful, beautiful painted birds. And one day there was a big celebration and Les came round to my house because nobody had invited him to this big celebration, commemoration of the end of the war. And he sat and he told me the story of his whole war. I should always remember it, because if you remember in the 1970s, Kawasaki developed a quilted anorak, which if exposed to rain, turns into a sort of a thick, gooey mess that stinks. And Les came round and kept his zipped up all the time. And by the time we'd finished, I was almost unconscious. But he told me the story of his war. And I said to him at the end, I said, Les, you went through all this stuff. Much of it amounted to sheer boredom, and little bits which interspersed the boredom were total terror. I said, how did you manage? And he looked me straight in the eye and he said, just the thought of getting back to dear old Truro. And that has been my motivation for doing pretty much everything that I've done as far as Truro and Cornwall is concerned. So this is called Leaning on the Rail. Well, I'm leaning, I'm watching that old Ford truck run amok. I'm whistling, I'm singing, the cold engineer rides his luck. I see a red lion's crying sign swinging in the rain, and I wonder if that old hotel will rise from the mud again. And I'm leaning, oh leaning, and the old town clock strikes the hour, and I'm leaning, yeah leaning, I'm leaning. home, swinging through my mama's heart. Childhood slates and timber carried off in a council car. I watch the fading chapel sign, the pulpit wrecked and burned. I heard the rooks reclaim my town and the preacher's back was turned. And I'm leaning, oh leaning, and the old town clock strikes the hour. I'm leaning on the rail. While we stand outside the co-op store, the rail removed and the widows weep. We speak with eyes of a stolen town, of our rivers, of our silent street. And grey bricks crumble over apple trees. The echo of bombs is gone. Bibles broke on charities played. Our melody's lost its loving song, and I'm leaning